Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Droid Life Show. This is episode 5. We're the whole Droid Life team. I'm Kellen. We got Tim, Ron, and Eric here. And Dave will be joining us shortly, although he is having some technical issues, so he'll join us soon. We got to talk about Droid DNA once he gets here, though, so we're going to have to put that off for a second. But yeah, we got a big show ahead of us. There's a lot of stuff going on. We got, obviously, the DNA, like I mentioned. We've got the Nexus 4 and 10. On sale, sold out in minutes. Android 4.2 rolling out to the GSM Galaxy Nexus and the Nexus 7. First ROMs maybe starting to pop up. We got a lot of stuff. So to kick this off, well, again, we were going to start with the DNA, but we're having some technical issues getting Dave on here, and he's got the device. So let's just jump right into Nexus 4 and Nexus 10. So I actually have both of the devices. You guys saw us do sort of a live unboxing. Tim and I were able to do that. We took your questions, talked about them both, and so far, first impressions. Well, I'll start with the Nexus 10. I have not played that much with this yet. I'm going to get it to Tim, and he's going to do our official review of it. So far, I don't really have much to report other than the back's really sticky and impossible to wipe fingerprints from. But the Nexus 4 I've been using for 2 days now. HSPA is not bothering me that much, not having LTE. But the battery life so far, Ron and I were actually talking about this before we went on air. The battery life is not really as awesome as I would have expected. Not that it's awful. I'm still getting anywhere from like 9 to 12 hours, but with no LTE radio in there, and Andy Rubin saying himself that one of the reasons they withheld LTE was for battery life, I'm not that impressed yet. But otherwise, the device is awesome. I haven't cracked the back yet. You can see there, shiny black.
Good job.
I know.
Congrats.
I know. I feel pretty good about that. But I do like it. It's just like an Optimus G. You know, it's fast, powerful. Android 4.2 is nice. I haven't had any issues. The camera's much better, but that's probably thanks to the camera software. Yeah, I don't know. So far, I'm really enjoying it. So I know you guys all haven't had a chance to play with this yet, so let's talk about the sales of it and sort of the process that happened with the Nexus 4 sellout. Google basically wasn't ready for it. Just like I/O tickets, things sold out in minutes, but people were running into crashing website issues. There was this refresh thing going on that people were doing for hours on end because they were actually able to order one that way. So I don't know, did Google sort of fail with their website, or is it just a success story? We sort of had a lot of argument going on. What are your thoughts, Tim? Did Google screw up with the Nexus 4 launch, or was it a successful Nexus 4 launch?
Well, I think by their numbers, it was probably successful. Whether or not they felt that the site crashing is acceptable or not is completely on them. It doesn't really affect me. But if it sold out, then that's fantastic for them, and I think they're just going to be happy about that. As for the site crashing, you just have to expect that with Google, because I've tried getting I/O tickets plenty of times, and I'm just used to it. Yeah. So it's nothing to me. Whatever.
Yeah, I guess it just surprised me. I mean, they're essentially the biggest internet company in the world, and they can't do a proper launch. And I mean, I/O has been a failure like 3 years in a row. They've had issues, and then they launched the Nexus 4, and the same things happen. I guess I just don't. They don't have any excuses. I don't really think. But is anybody surprised that it sold out in minutes? I mean, as we saw it go up across the globe, it was kind of selling out in all these countries, and then it got to the U.S. and it sold out in I think like 25 minutes or something. So. Ron or Eric, were you guys surprised that it sold out that fast, Nexus 4?
I wasn't super surprised about in Europe, but just because it's it's more standard to have an HSPA device out there. But it's kind of hard to say if that's impressive or not, since we actually don't have any device numbers. So I mean, sold out could literally mean low thousands. We have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know how many of these Google actually planned on selling day one. So, they could have had like 50 of them in the back room that immediately got sold out. It's just,
yeah.
I wasn't surprised by it, but I don't think it's anything impressive, really.
Yeah, it's sort of it's interesting because when we talk about an Apple launch, and they sell out of a new iPhone or iPad immediately, and everyone goes, "Oh my God, it's the biggest, most successful launch ever," and Google does it, and everyone just goes, "Google, your website sucks. Like you should have been prepared." Like it's the complete opposite. Like it should be a success story, but there were so many issues that went along with it. And yeah, like you guys said, we don't know. Did they sell 5,000 of them, 10,000 of them, or did they sell 200,000? I think it's probably on the lower end, but I guess I guess it's sort of a nice surprise. But then I got to admit that I'm surprised that the Nexus 10 sold out. Actually, I don't know if the 16 gig's still available, but the 32 gig sold out within about, I think, an hour and a half or 2 hours. That surprised me. Do people really still want 10-inch tablets that bad?
I guess so. Yeah, I was shocked. I could have sworn I wasn't going to have to write it, but Nexus 10 sold out on Google Play Post. But there I was, writing it up. And I was like, no way. But I was actually telling Kellen earlier that I was like, no way the Nexus 4 is going to sell out. Because, at least on our site, everyone's Verizon. So they're just like, no LTEs, a killer, deal breaker. And I'm just like, yeah, no way the Nexus 4 is going to sell out. But then 5 minutes later, it was gone. And I was happily shocked.
Yeah, we did talk about that. I told you it was going to sell. I didn't think it was going to sell in 20 minutes, but...
No, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it surprised me a little bit just because we did see a lot of negativity about the HSPA Plus only, the little amounts of storage, things like that. And then, I mean, it was gone, and people couldn't get one. And we had people all day, complaining about how they couldn't get one. So, I don't know, Nexus 4, though. It's a nice phone. I like the wireless charging, which is nice, although it gets really hot when it does that. I don't know if you guys have ever wirelessly charged a device, but it gets smoking hot in the back.
Yep.
So, any other thoughts then about the Nexus 4, Nexus 10 launch? It launched like 20 minutes earlier than we were told, like at 8:30 rather than 9. But I don't know.
I think it's more impressive that the Nexus 10 sold out than the Nexus 4. I mean, yeah I think we're all gonna think that the Nexus 4 was gonna sell because it's their flagship phone. But like you said, we didn't know if they had any interest in 10-inch tablets anymore, and apparently there's a bunch of people out there that still want it. So
I see 2 Dave Covers.
Yeah, 2 Dave Covers.
That's pretty impressive.
Oh,
I think Dave's still in robotic voice.
Yeah, he is a robot. I know he's upset too, Dave. If you can hear me, I'm sorry, man. I don't know why you sound like a robot.
Yeah, Dave has joined us, by the way, everyone. He's just having internet issues.
I blame it on Google.
Yeah,
I blame it on Sandy. Blame it on Sandy, man.
It could be a Sandy issue there. Yeah, so Nexus 4, Nexus 10, we do have them both. We'll have full reviews coming in, well, I'm going to try to get the Nexus 4 done this week before, the next batch come in stock there. And actually, Google said they're going to have more, I think they said in the coming weeks.
Coming weeks.
Yeah, they wouldn't give a specific date, so it could be at least a week. We're not really sure when we're going to get new Nexus 4 in stock. The Nexus 10, we'll get it to Tim, and he'll start working on that right away, so you guys can get that up if you're interested in buying that. And yeah, we'll have more coverage on those. And yeah. So let's move on then to, well, I still see Dave. Dave, are you alive? Can you speak, or are you still in robot mode? I think he's still in robot mode, isn't he?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Droid DNA anyway.
Yeah, we can still talk about it, right?
Yeah, let's still talk about this. So, Droid DNA event went off Tuesday morning, which was the same. No, was that? Yeah, Tuesday morning. The same morning, the Nexus 4, Nexus 10 went on sale, and I don't necessarily know that it took a back seat either. I mean, people seem pretty excited about the DNA. 5-inch 1080p display, the first in the US with that, 2 gig of RAM, quad-core processor, Verizon's LTE. People are, though, a little worried about the 20 milliamp hour battery, and then also the 16 gigabytes of internal storage with no way to expand that. And we're going to talk about expandable storage later, but I mean, everything we saw. So Dave got some good hands-on time. He did an unboxing today with the device, and it looks beautiful. It looks really, really nice. So let's just go around. We'll start with Eric. What are your guys' thoughts after seeing it now about the device? And there's Dave. There's Dave actually holding it up to the camera.
You get to see it a little bit.
Yeah. So Eric, what are your thoughts now that you've seen the device and all that stuff?
I love it. I'm excited. I've been waiting to see what it actually looked like because we've been hearing all these specs, but I've been waiting to see if HTC was really going to step up their hardware for Verizon. They really did. I'm really anxious to get one in my hands and play with it a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Ron, you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think The display looks really, really nice. We couldn't really tell, certainly not from the leaks because you can never know for sure, but you know how it's basically edge to edge. That looks really, really nice. I like that the back is the soft plastic like that. So the design of it, I mean, it's very, very much like the One X. It's a great, great looking device.
Yeah, and what did they do with the display? They sort of made it like roll waterfall off. They called it over the edge, so it just sort of gives that like seamless flow over the back, which is really cool. I like that design idea that I think they did that with the Nexus 4 as well a little bit, so pretty cool. Tim, DNA, give it to me.
You don't want to know what I think of the DNA. I think it's sexy, dude. I think it's gonna be awesome. When I was looking at Dave's hands-on, and then also the pictures that he posted, my favorite device ever is the One X. So you put that on Verizon, maybe make it a little bigger and put it in black, and that's it right there. It doesn't get any better. So I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. I can't wait to get my hands on it. And there's a couple of cool things in there, too. If you guys watch Dave's hands-on unboxing, there's this little spot on the back of the device. It looks like a speaker right next to the camera, and there's actually a light under there. So if you have the thing face down, it's actually a notification light. So if you're one of those people that puts their phone face down, it'll actually blink through this little grill, which is kind of cool. So there's one on the front, in the front speaker grill, and then there's this little spot on the back. Eric, you don't sound like you like that.
Just thinking about setting my phone face down over and over again just makes me cringe.
Oh, that's good. Dude.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, that's a bad idea. What'd you say, Dave?
Is Dave like typing and it's like saying words?
No, that would be awesome. What it sounds like, though.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Who does he sound like? What's that guy he sounds like? I forget. Yeah. Never mind.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. But yeah, putting the phone face down thing, it scares me a little bit, but now that I have this Nexus 4 and I had an Optimus G, it's basically what I do every time I put the phone down. Whether I put it front down or backwards, I'm putting it on glass, so I'm sort of used to that whole scary glass thing. But then also Verizon seems to have left it SIM unlocked for GSM networks. So Phil, actually over at Android Central, tossed in his AT&T SIM, messed with the APN settings, and got it to connect to AT&T's HSPA like instantly. And so I can imagine that Verizon is going to lock that. I wouldn't think they would leave that open permanently. They just don't see. They've never done that in the past, but it's kind of cool. I mean, that's another selling feature. If you're an AT&T guy, go buy the phone right away. Throw an AT&T SIM card in there before Verizon updates it. But I thought
they might leave it open. They left the iPhone 5 as open as well, so you can do that. So it looks like they started doing that. Nobody's really quite totally sure why they have started doing that, because in theory they've just been ignoring all the LTE rules. But they left that open as well, and they said they're leaving it open. So it could be that they're going to do that with the One X and any other future LTE devices.
Yeah, that's true. I did forget about the new iPhone. So yeah, it's kind of cool that they did that. So props to Verizon on that. We'll see if it sticks.
Probably not.
Props to iPhone. Why are you giving props to Verizon? Props to iPhone, dude.
Props to Apple for forcing Verizon to do that and then letting it bleed over into
now it's cool since Apple did it.
Apple did it, so now it's awesome.
Apple patented SIM unlocking on Verizon, and since they're in licensing with HTC now, they can do it too.
Oh, genius.
But so HTC also mentioned that this is the ultimate phone. It's the ultimate this and that, and then they brought up the Droid brand again, and we talked about this a little bit, I think, last week. And they said we're going back to the roots of the Droid brand. I don't necessarily know what that means. I don't know if that means we're going to get the app sphere back and they're going to highlight that stuff. I don't know where that's going. We talked about the Droid brand, but what do you guys think of when HTC says we're going back to the roots? Is that good? Does that scare you?
It makes me feel that they have no idea what the root of the Droid brand is.
Exactly.
At least everyone who I talk to or know, they probably started on the OG, and I just know vanilla Android. I don't know, and that should be the root of at least the Droid brand. I would think it's just pure Android with like kind of minimal tweaks here and there. I don't know. HTC Sense is not it though.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't need to bring up bootloaders, do we? But I mean, this phone's probably going to be locked down. I don't know that anyone's confirmed that yet, but I think we just sort of assume at this point.
Yeah, we assume that S-on, all that hardcore stuff.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully we could get around that. We saw some work with the Incredible 4 GLT this week as well, so hopefully that's Good signs. Good signs for the DNA.
Yeah. On the other hand, though, I mean, HTC has been they launched the first successors to the Droid with the Incredible and the Aris. So I mean, they've definitely been a part of it and made a massive contribution to it. I think the Incredible is probably the second most owned phone in that era on Verizon.
Yeah, I think HTC has a right to say that they're going back to the Droid brand, but what I really want to see if they're going back to the root of Droid is for them to bring back the commercials that say what Droid does and iPhone doesn't, because that's what started it. That's what got everybody to check out the OG Droid was, oh man, I can do all this on that phone that the iPhone can't. I think that is what they need to get back to if they want to do that, not these stupid, busting holes through walls commercials with your phone and all that kind of stuff. I know that's Motorola, but still.
Nilay Patel posted that thing earlier. I think it was earlier this week, and I've been thinking it every single time I see that commercial. I'm like, is he home? Is he in prison? Why is he leaving?
Yeah,
wherever he is, by blowing it out. Yeah, like what is that? And why does his jail have an awesome audio video system?
Him out of jail.
I hate that commercial.
It's probably the worst commercial of the year. And when we posted it up, I kind of poked fun at all those things too, because it doesn't make any sense, right? This guy wakes up in like the middle of the desert in like a concrete building, and he has like CGI speakers that pop out of his wall, and there's
no roof.
Yeah, no roof.
Yeah, there's no roof.
And there's
no doors.
There's a TV, and they threw in like the Motorola docking station just to plug that, and then like, I'm going to shoot a hole in my wall and walk out of it to take over the world. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. It just brings like every bad aspect of the whole Droid campaign into one commercial. And I just wish they would move on from it completely.
You guys are just jealous that you don't have an awesome house with no roof in the middle of the desert.
That I can blow holes in just to leave.
You can't even call it a house if it doesn't have a roof. You can't. That's not a house. It's just four walls.
Yeah, it's like he stopped building his house to like buy his Droid Razr Max HD. It's just awful. It's probably the worst commercial. But I don't know if you guys remember the Incredible commercials. They were actually kind of cool. They were like the box in the middle of a room with like 4 screens.
Yeah.
And it like projected out. It did some kind of cool stuff, and it was all about like fast cars and fast everything. Because that phone had like, I think it was one of the first with a 1 gigahertz Snapdragon processor.
It was. Well, it was the Nexus 1 was, but it was
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. That was the actual campaign for the Incredible was pretty cool. So I don't know. Maybe they'll go back to that and spice it up and give it new life or something, because it needs it. I mean, the Razr HDs are nice phones, but they're not like bringing back Droid by any means. So I don't know. Dave's got to be just gone. We're not getting live cut in of the DNA today, I don't think.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, we'll have more coverage of the DNA. People in the chat, so don't worry about it. We'll have plenty of it. So any last thoughts on the Droid DNA? Has anybody decided that this is your next phone? You have to live. You can't live without it. You're buying it. For me, I just want to review it, but I don't think it's my next phone.
It could be. It could be, depending. Yeah. I don't know. I need to feel it. If that size is right, and I don't mind the 5 inches too much, then it might be all right. Because when Dave had it in his hand, it just looked like it fit really well, and I'm excited for it. That's, I guess, all I can say. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too, just to like hang on to it. But speaking of size for a minute, when he was comparing it to the Galaxy Nexus, I don't know if you guys saw that video, it looks similar in size, except that the screen is just so edge to edge and top to bottom that it doesn't have as big of a footprint as like say the Note. So that could be something to look forward to. Maybe the size won't be that bad. Maybe it's closer to like the Galaxy S3, which I used to not like because it was too big, and now I sort of love it after coming back from the Galaxy Note 2. So yeah. All right, well, let's talk about Android 4.2 update that's rolling out for a little bit. So I know Tim and I both have the update. Eric does not yet because he's having issues with recovery.
Nope.
So you haven't got a chance to play with it. Ron, have you had a chance to play with Android 4.2 at all yet on anything?
No, not yet.
Okay, so we were just going to look into the chat then, and we were going to sort of ask people what your favorite features were. So everybody in the chat, we just want to sort of hear if you have 4.2 on your Nexus 7 or Galaxy Nexus or whatever you're using. What is your favorite feature? And then while we're letting them do that, Tim, what's your favorite feature in Android 4.2 so far?
I would have to say the camera updates in Photosphere.
Yeah.
I was showing it off to a friend of mine who happens to work at Apple, and I was like, look what I got. And needless to say, he was very jelly. And
it's jelly bean.
Oh, thank you. Oh, man.
Really missed out there.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and you missed out on the sound effect too, Tim.
Yeah, that too.
I'm kind of off my game, sorry. But yeah, either way, I like Photosphere.
I'll tell you the feature I don't like, and that's lock screen widgets. I do not
Really?
get them. I don't get it. Your home screen's made for widgets, and if you put them on your lock screen, then what do you have home screens for? I just don't get it.
Huh.
I mean, all it takes to get to your home screen is you just swipe your finger, and there you are at all your widgets. So it's like it eliminates. I don't know. It feels like I saw somebody in the comments actually in a post I did about these, and the guy said. He said it's like you're running out of, not that you're running out of ideas, but he said basically like you're just tacking on features on top of features to add new features just to say you're adding something. And I sort of agree. I don't get it. I think the sound search thing is cool because if you need to quickly, find a song or something like that, that would make sense. But why do I need my calendar there when I can just unlock it and get to my calendar or Gmail or I don't know. I really don't. I'm not a lock screen widget guy, that's for sure.
Yeah, the only thing I was thinking was that Google's trying to help people win the Smoke by Windows Phone contests.
Oh, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah, let's see Windows Phone 8, they bring that back and we'll go, look, we have... Yeah, but that's another thing, though. There isn't any... Like, you can put calendar, Gmail, a clock, sound search, and I think that's it. There's
messages.
Oh, yeah, messages.
Well, there will be more going down the road.
There will, and they've opened it up so that developers can put it on there.
It's in the new SDK.
Yeah, I got an email today from some. I thought it was about beautiful widgets. This is sort of a random story, but we got an email this morning about beautiful widgets 5.0 that Tim wrote up, and like 10 minutes later, I got an email that said beautiful widgets live, and we have lock screen clocks already, and I was like, oh, the update must be live. It was apparently some canned app that they called themselves
beautiful widget or something.
Dear.
It was bad.
It was like, there was like one letter different in the name. And I was like, I was ready to like write it up and get all excited. I was like, I am not installing that. I do not know where this damn thing came from. And so, so they've opened it up. So there are apps out there already that can take advantage of that. So in the near future, but another thing that bugs me about it is like sound search is like a 4x1 widget. And you can only put one widget per lock screen page.
What?
So even though it takes up one, you can't like put sound search up here and then put the calendar below it.
Oh,
so
dude, they're gonna have to fix that.
Yeah, you have to create like a whole new page for it.
That's pretty dumb.
And it's sort of confusing. And like on tablets, there's no shortcut to get straight to the camera. They took that out on tablets from the lock screen now. It's just so weird. I don't know. The whole new lock screen kind of bugs me. I got to be honest. I don't know.
I agree with the lock screen, but also what kind of frustrates me is maybe I can show you real quick. So when you're okay, yeah, I can definitely show you. So here you go. So Nexus 7. So when you pull down, I'm always just so used to pulling down and being able to go right into my settings.
Yeah.
But then when you pull down on the right side, and if you do it too quick, like of course it won't do it now, but it'll just auto close on itself, and you have to like super get to settings real fast. And that's really frustrating to me. I don't know why they don't just have one, and you can just push to turn it around to get to quick settings. Having two just seems kind of unnecessary to me.
Does it not do the two-finger thing, or?
Nope, no two-finger on the tablet.
Not on tablets, no.
What?
Yeah, so, it's kind of stupid, right?
So that's a bug, because that happened to me last night. Like I tried to pull it down slow and everything, and it just kept snapping back up. So that's a bug in the new notification panel. And so sometimes it does that, sometimes it doesn't. But you're right. That's another thing. So I don't like, on tablets anyway, the two dual notification things. I agree there should be one with a toggle, or you should just two-finger pull down. But on tablets, especially on the Nexus 7, when you have it portrait, there's actually two. You have to like on the left side is a normal.
That's dumb.
And on the and it's sort of to me that makes it more confusing. So on a phone it makes sense because you pull one down and then there's a little toggle. And on a tablet now it's separated. And if somebody I figured they were doing it to make it easy on users, but on a tablet it seems to be more difficult. Just kind of like
whatever it is, they just need to make it on one to the other. They need to be the same. Making it different on the phone and tablet is just...
That's like a step backwards, I thought. Yeah. I mean, yeah, so...
Yeah, but even more so making it like where you pull down, like that just sounds like people are going to be getting phone calls left and right, like, hey, I can't find my notifications, I keep swiping and it's not showing.
Well,
move half an inch to the right and then you'll get your settings.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, like, when you pull down on the left side, there's just no settings there anymore. It's all it is notifications, and that's worthless to me.
And I don't like that it's off-center either. That doesn't look great.
Oh, it does not look great at all, actually.
it doesn't. It's actually really bad. I'm glad you brought that up because it's not good.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh god, what is happening?
And the whole snapback is, I hate it because once you pull down and then you touch again during the halfway, it screws it all up, man.
Yeah, I didn't realize they have snap. Is that new? Is that 4.2?
Yep, it's new.
They better be careful.
I already told Kellen that Apple is coming for him.
Yeah, I'm surprised they did that. That's pretty.
And
bold.
they can expect the cease and desist here any day.
Yeah, wow. And the snapback on it's really jerky, and it doesn't really work.
Buggy.
Yeah,
it's
and
buggy.
So here's the Nexus 10. So this thing, they're even more spread apart. You have one over here.
Oh, jeez.
And then you have one way over here.
That's so dumb.
That's so dumb.
It's so bad. I can't even get it to do it now. Yeah, and you can see it snapping back.
So what happens when you do it in the middle?
There. Let's see if I can get
it. It depends on what side you're on.
No one knows.
I think it did the main one. Yeah, it just did the main one.
Gosh, that looks so bad.
Yeah, that's right in the middle right
Why
there.
don't you just show both? Just show both at the same time. You've got the space.
And you can't. I tried it in a video. I think when Tim and I were doing it live, we tried to pull it down. And
tried to do like the metal horns and do it at the same time.
Yeah, it just didn't work.
I actually really love the idea of being able to do that.
That would be cool.
That's so metal. It's so metal.
Yeah, so I mean, there's some cool things in Android 4.2, but there's also some stuff that Google did, and I hate to bring up fragmentation, but it's like fragmented, like from phone to tablet, it's just different. And even like the lock screen widget and stuff, they just look different and work different from phone to tablet. And I sort of understand that because one's a big screen and one's a small screen, but I don't know, there's just some things in there that just seem a little odd. And then of course the multi-user support is only on tablets, and we still don't necessarily know why. They've never said why. So
I think because you're more likely to use it, like share a tablet, I think, than you are your phone. So I think that's kind of like, that's how I would look at that. Pretty easy.
Yeah, that makes sense, but why eliminate it completely? Why not at least have it in case somebody wants to share a phone? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we talked about that before. Like there are instances where like somebody's phone dies or whatever, and they just need to use your phone real quick.
Right.
You know,
well, then they can just use it. They don't need their own profile on my device.
Well, no, but having like a public mode or whatever, where hey, now you can use this, but you don't have access to my texts or anything else like that.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah. So Android 4.2 is awesome. There's just a couple of things in there that are definitely a little weird, but I hope they fine-tune.
Like you were talking about earlier with that comment about just adding new features, it's kind of like they just sat down and they were like, all right, what can we change just for the sake of changing it, almost. That's weird. All that notification stuff is just, I don't like it.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of little tweaks, like they changed fonts around and stuff. I don't know. I'll pull the tablet back up so you guys can see this. So the clock everywhere has it's bold on the hours and then fine print or not bold.
Isn't that just the ugliest thing you've ever seen?
Yeah, it kind of sucks. And it's like that everywhere. If you go into the new clock app, it's like that everywhere. And I think that I almost want to say that in 4.2, before the update that had multi-user and all that, it wasn't like that. I swear it just showed up. But so they've done that too. So they're starting to make some pretty interesting UI moves, and I don't know that I fully like them or not. And I think also in the on the phone, they made the app drawer is 5x5 now instead of I think it was 4x5 before, now it's 5x5. So they changed that, and I don't have a problem with that.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
It is a little inconsistent because the home screens aren't like that, but
yeah. I wonder if that's going to scale to different home screens.
Yeah, because that would be nice. Because right now, I've gotten used to it, but at first it looked really, really weird having that much space between the icons when you're going from a smaller device to a bigger. So it'd be nice if they at least gave you the option, like most custom launchers do. Yeah,
I mean, is that what Android's going to have to do now? Is just start like stealing everything from third-party launchers? Because they have all these features, like you can change the grid around, or is that just getting too advanced and they shouldn't go that far?
I don't think they should go that far.
I don't think they will.
Yeah.
We've consistently seen Google say, "Oh, well, there are apps out there that do that. Go download them." Instead of us just adding them in there for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you see them do things like the swipe thing. They did not need to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think if they like an idea and think they can do it just enough to where somebody won't sue them, they'll do it.
I love the new gesture keyboard. I love it. It's awesome. And I don't even like swipe. I hate swipe. Like, I think swipe sucks. But this keyboard,
I'm not a swipe guy either.
Maybe it's just because I'm a Google fanboy, but I do like it.
Well, but it does as you're swiping along, it shows you the words like as you're going, right? And swipe, I don't think swipe does that.
No, they don't.
So I mean that could be. I mean, I would think that would make a big difference because you're not constantly looking up while you're swiping around. You have to be looking at the letters.
Yeah.
So having that follow you along actually I think makes a big difference.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest feature in it. That's what's so cool about it, is that it's like live telling you like what you're typing. It's pretty cool.
Back when I was using swipe, I didn't even have to look at my keyboard. I was so good with it.
Yeah, most of the time
I do. This one I have to be like pretty on top of it and kind of looking at it if I'm texting. But on the other one, on old swipe back, on my Nexus S days, I was the king of swipe. And
swipe boss.
Yeah, and I didn't have to look at it. I don't know if I like this as much as swipe. I really like it, and it's really good. But I don't know. I like old swipe. New swipe is kind of bad.
You're such a hater.
You're a hipster. You're a swipe hipster.
Yeah, I liked swipe before it was cool.
A swipe hipster. A swipester.
That's fine with me.
That's a good one.
A swipester.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so anything else in Android 4.2 that you guys want to toss out there that you've seen, that you like, hate, confused by? I don't know.
Not really.
It's a pretty big update, but it's not a huge update. So I'm glad. I mean, you can see why they didn't change the name to Keyline Pi or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for KLP. It's gonna be dope.
Yeah. But that kind of raises the question. Even jumping from ICS to Jelly Bean. I mean, besides the speed improvements, they're really they haven't added a lot. You have some like big name, kind of like Photosphere and that kind of thing, which is really cool. But nothing that's really like pushing the platform forward in a lot of ways. I don't think. Versus when you go from Gingerbread to ICS, big, massive differences. So I think that I'm a little bit curious to see like how else can they be pushing this forward? What other things can they add to really make Android stand out?
This could just be my opinion, Ron, but
here we go.
No, I just feel that they've already been innovating a lot, and so now I think it's more time about tweaking and making sure that it works as good as it can and as well as it can. I think making it look different, all that stuff, I mean, that's only going to break more stuff down, I feel, and kind of, I hate to use the word fragment, but like fragmentize the OS a little bit more. Because, I mean, if you want different looks, then I don't think they need a different look, is what I'm getting at. iOS has looked the same since day one. Like, there's new features and stuff, but I like the look of Jelly Bean now, and if they just kind of work on making it better, then I'm kind of happy with that for now.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I mean, you look at the design language from ICS into Jelly Bean, I really like that look. But
yeah.
I think, and I really hope they don't change it, because I was getting sick and tired of the green on Gingerbread.
Oh, yeah, I don't know, that was kind of a awkward
how ugly was Gingerbread?
It was really bad. Yeah. Like, it was nice because it was better than Froyo.
At the time, it was like, oh, it's got the black bar on top. This is sick.
Freaking out.
Yeah.
That's right, because it used to be white. That's right.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't even have to put on a custom theme now. This is dope.
Yeah.
And then that green was just so bad after a while.
The little icons were just like straight lines. They weren't like cartoony drawn, and our minds were blown, dude.
Blown.
Yeah.
Blown.
So I think as far as a design language for Android, I mean, ICS and Jelly Bean have definitely put it into the where I think it looks really great, better than any other operating system, mobile operating system out there.
Windows 8, yeah. Yeah.
That thing looks bad. But like, can you? I think that's a topic for discussion. Do you guys can you think of any other like big features that you're looking for in an Android phone as far as software goes? Obviously, there's mechanical stuff we can do with like zooming for a camera and stuff like that. But as far as like actual software features, is there anything you guys think that you want that you don't have right now in Android?
That's a good question, because I'm always like surprised when Google will announce something new. I'm like, I didn't know I wanted that, but now I really want that. And I think they always just have a way of surprising me, at least. Maybe just because I'm not a forward thinker like they are, but. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I won't know that I need it until they announce it.
I think I just want Google to make products like Ron. I think you even mentioned this when I took that picture of the 3 Nexus devices together. You said, "Too bad there isn't like a way for them to seamlessly work together or something." I swear you said that, or somebody did, and that's kind of what I want. Like, I have all these tablets and devices now, and none of them like really work together. Like, I can't just quickly share screens on them or swap stuff and things like that. I think that would kind of be fun. And I know they're starting to do that with the Miracast display stuff for TVs and stuff. But I mean, I have a phone and a tablet, and it'd be nice to just be able to like drop my phone, pick up my tablet, and sort of like pick up where I left off. You know, like games saved at the same levels, things like that. Obviously, like the browser now with Chrome Sync, stuff like that. I don't know. It just seems like everything should be accessible from one device.
Yeah, I think. I mean, the game stuff, that's always been a problem, which some games are able to deal with and some aren't. And they just need to have a universal thing built into Google Play to deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
But HP, when they came out with when they were first showing off the touchpad in the Pre-3, they had it to where you could, whatever apps you had open, you could shoot those over to your touchpad and vice versa. And it would just pick them up right exactly where you left off, which is actually like, because usually like when you're on the road or whatever, you want to have your phone. Then when you get home, you want to switch over to tablet. So you'd be able to just switch all that stuff over, have all the exact same stuff open.
Yeah.
That'd be a really cool feature. They've got NFC built in on basically everything. So I don't see why they don't jack that. It's not like HP's using it.
I mean, they're not that far away, really. I mean, they've already got that with the Play Store. If you click on it there, it starts installing on your device. You know, it wouldn't be too far of a stretch to assume that you can say, hey, I've got this movie on my phone. I wanted to start downloading my tablet. You know, they're not too far off from that.
Well, and Amazon's done it with the Kindle, right? They announced like a new game thing where it saves your game depending on no matter what device you're on or something like that, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know what. Maybe that's what Google's next. Yeah, I don't know what else I want them to do. I'm sort of like Tim. I sort of wait for Google to say this is awesome, and I go, that is awesome, and that's sort of where I'm at. You know, every I/O we sort of get blown away by something that we didn't know we needed, but now we think that we need.
It's hard being a Google fanboy, dude.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
I try and be really subjective, but it's impossible for me. I don't know. I really like Android. I don't know, man. I also like other stuff too, and I really try not to like hate on iOS, but I'm just like I even tried to like the iPhone 5, and I was like, screw it. It looks just like the iPhone 4. Like, I can't get into it. I don't know.
But since we're talking about iOS for a second, that's one of those things that since we're also on the subject of where's Android going to go, and Tim, you sort of talked about how it looks really nice and we just need to fine tune it. Well, that's sort of what iOS is at, and they're getting all sorts of criticism about it because everyone's saying it's a tired OS, it needs to be refreshed, it's boring, it sucks. I know, but if Android doesn't do something new or something every like other year, aren't we just going to keep running into that too, or do we care because it's going to work so good? I mean, like Apple people, most of them don't care. They're like iOS works perfect. So.
We're not even close to that at that point yet. Apple's had 5 years to change it up, and they haven't. So I think we're doing all right.
I also think that Android users demand more out of Google.
And I think they know that. They realize that too, I think. Yeah, they don't want to just make the same thing over and over again. They're constantly just changing it. And they'll continue to tweak it, just like kind of like 4.2 was just a bump in Jelly Bean where it just makes it better and adds a few things. That's what I'm talking about. I think 5.0 or Keyline Pi, will definitely, I don't know if it'll look different, but it'll definitely be a major step. So it's not going to be like iOS 5 to iOS 6 where it looks the same and you're like, but,
I mean, Google, they definitely have an idea where they want to go with their UI, like Ron was talking earlier. It from ICS to Jelly Bean, it's got a direction. We can see where it's going. I really like what they're doing with it, the little subtle things that they're doing. I haven't gotten 4.2 yet, so I can't really speak on that, but I think they've got a clear plan of what they want to do.
That's a good point. I wanted to touch on that real quick. Android to me isn't just about software, but it's a lot about the hardware as well. So while the technology is being upgraded and we're seeing new things like NFC and 4G LTE, and then kind of Android is kind of just going around all of that and itself becoming a better OS, I think. And so with the on-screen keys and all that stuff, now you're getting devices with bigger displays and all that. I think it's kind of like a
symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, I guess you could call it that. Yeah, hardware and software, Android. I don't know, man. We're doing big things.
No, that's a good point though, because innovation in hardware allows Google to innovate on the OS, and so that's probably where most of the future is going to be. I mean, they'll fine tune the OS, like look and feel and all that stuff, but yeah, the innovation probably comes when hardware innovation happens. So
yeah, well, you look at something like the screen on the DNA, 440 ppi. That's bonkers. I mean, there's no way you're going to see that even if you hold it up super close. So that's a great example of innovation there. I'd love to see more of it. I'd love to see a phone that has I don't know if you guys have seen the Lumia 920 low light pictures that people have been coming out with.
yeah.
Oh, dude, those are
Looks
nuts.
really nice.
Those are crazy.
If I can get something with that and something that does zoom really, really well, because that's the one thing that I really hate about a camera phone is I can't zoom very far. But get good low light performance, but now we got HDR and everything else like that kind of built in. I mean, it's getting to the point where, you really, oftentimes you cannot tell that a picture was taken on a smartphone. They've gotten to that point now with hardware and software.
Yeah, unless you like blow it up and look at it really closely, but no one does that anymore. So
no.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about one more just hot topic real quick since we started 10 minutes late, so we'll go a little bit here. Non-removable storage. Tim and I were talking about this today. So the DNA gets announced, and everyone goes, "Oh my God, the battery! How's it going to last on that?" And then the other thing was, what? It only has 16 gigabytes of internal storage and no SD card slot? Deal breaker, fail, yada, yada, yada. So I just want to go around and hear if that to you is a deal breaker or if it's not a deal breaker. If either way, why? So I'll start with Tim, since you brought it up earlier today.
It seems like every time we talk about the DNA, Nexus 4 and all that, it's like, oh, no expandable storage. Well, I don't want it. It's crap, fail. I don't know. For me, I just don't need. Maybe I just don't need that much storage. When it comes to music, I just use Google Music, and it just streams for files or whatever. It just comes from Dropbox or Drive. I just don't know what people are storing on their device that's taking up 16 gigabytes plus of all their storage. So to me, it's just not a deal breaker.
Porn.
You can stream porn just fine. Trust me. It's just not a big deal anymore. The internet, man. It's an amazing place.
It is. Ron, what are your thoughts on no SD card slots on phones? Is that a big deal?
No, but I do think, 16 gigs you can do if you can get a lot of stuff on there, you get a lot of apps and stuff like that. But when you start to take a lot of pictures or a lot of video, or if you want to have your music cached on your device, that can be a little limiting. I think at least having options of 16 and 32, 64 still feels like a little overkill to me. So maybe in a few more years it won't. But especially when if you're going like on a day trip or a weekend trip or whatever, you're not going to be offloading your files and you're taking a lot of pictures or something. 16 gigs can be limiting. So at least giving people options and saying, hey, here's you pay a little more, but get a little bit more storage. I don't think expandable is a big deal. It's just giving people options.
So is it a deal breaker? If you had a phone sitting next to another phone, one had an SD card slot and 8 gig of internal storage, and one only had 16 gig of internal with no SD slot, would you buy the one with the SD slot? Is it that big of a deal?
No. Because if it's got an SD slot, that means it's got a removable back, which means it's probably a thicker device, and I'd rather have the thinness and deal with the storage.
It's true.
What about you, Eric? Is it a deal breaker?
Well, I'm sitting here and I pulled up my phone because Ron brought up the music cache, and I've got like 4 playlists cached on my phone from Google Music, and they're about like 40 songs each, something like that. And I've got a bunch of pictures. I've got 5 gigabytes of apps, and I still have 18 gigabytes of storage left on my phone. So to me, it's not really a big deal, but I can see how some people want to have the SD card with all of their music, and it seems like people just want to hang on to their content physically a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what someone just mentioned. Like, if their phone breaks, then they're screwed in terms of losing all that stuff. If you can't take out the micro SD, I get that's a good point. But am I too careful with my phone? I've never had that problem.
Yeah, but see, it's not a deal breaker to me because everything I do in some form gets backed up into a cloud service of some sort, right? So every picture I take gets automatically uploaded to Dropbox for free, and they just keep giving you more storage the more you do that.
Yes.
So every picture I take is uploaded. So if my phone dies, I still have all my pictures and videos, by the way, too. Or those get automatically uploaded to Google Plus too now, which is also free and unlimited as far as I know. And then my music is all on Google Music, which is pretty good storage locker, and so I don't need to have that on my phone. My emails are Gmail, so they're all cloud. So for me, I guess I've fully invested in this like cloud life. I use Google Drive and all this stuff. So yeah, for me, it doesn't make sense. But I guess there are, a lot of people out there that still like to have physical contact with all of their like media and things like that. So, and we definitely heard them. They're a vocal group in the comments at the site. So yeah, I don't know. So we're pretty much consensus on that. Not a deal breaker for us anyway.
At least for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks pretty mixed in the
chat.
Yeah. So, all right, let's move out of there. Let's whip through some apps real quick and the games real quick. Get to some ranting and sort of wrap up. So, apps of the week, Tim, just drop it real quick.
Call of Duty Elite for Android. There's nothing that can take away my Call of Duty fix better than the Elite app for Android.
Is the app any good? I haven't even used it yet. Is it good?
For Black Ops, they updated it pretty well, and it's pretty sick.
It used to suck, but
It
I'm
used to
assuming
suck.
since Black Ops 2 came out.
It used to really suck. I'll be the first to admit, but now it's actually pretty awesome. It looks really nice.
Nice. All right, so I've been using Echo Phone, that Twitter app that's been in beta, and it actually tonight just went to the Play Store. So official Echo Phone is out. I think it was a huge iPhone Twitter app for a while, and now it's on Android. And I've been using Hootsuite like my entire life, and so it just got sort of old and ugly looking. Hootsuite needs a big update, so I was like, I'm going to transfer over to one of these new school apps, and I like Echo Phone. It's actually really nice, multi-accounts and all that good fun. So Eric, what do you got?
I actually found an interesting sports application called Chadwick. What it does is it's only for basketball right now, and it's I think it's made by an ex-Googler actually, and when basketball scores are going on, it brings up a feed of basketball scores, and you click on that, and he's got an algorithm that reads tweets from reporters that are at the games, and they update the scores based on the feed of the Twitter, and then you can just read the live stream of the tweets that are going on, which are usually, if you've ever read a sports guy's Twitter during a game, it's usually exactly what's going on with a little bit of insight that you probably wouldn't get on TV. So it's a really interesting application. I've been using it for about 3 days now.
That sounds amazing. I'm actually going to download that while
it's
we're
really
on
cool.
Air. Is it college or NBA or both?
It's only NBA right now, and I think he's working to do more sports.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Sweet. All right, Ron, what do you got?
For me, we just talked about this a little bit, but Dropbox has been a huge asset. Having all your files and everything all over the place, being able to access them from a browser and everything else like that, but especially having it on your phone and the upload. So you can upload your photos exactly as they are. You don't have to compress them or anything else like that, like Google Plus does. Mm-hmm. So just uploads them automatically, which is huge for backing them up and stuff like that. So that's what I've been using a ton lately, and it's huge, and especially when you add in stuff like text editors and syncing that with Dropbox and all over the place. So.
Yeah, I couldn't live without Dropbox, that's for sure. Although, can somebody answer me this? Why is it that, so I have the automatic camera upload, so it uploads every time I take a picture, but if I take a screenshot on my phone, it uploads those too. Sometimes, not every time, sometimes. So like my camera uploads folder is massive because I take screenshots of like everything. Yeah. And there's no way to like filter that out, I don't think.
Nope.
It drives me insane. All right, anyway. So, games of the week. Tim, what do you got?
I have Real Racing 2. I don't know, I just keep going from like zombie games to shooter games to whatever, but either way. So Real Racing 2, it came pre-installed on the Razer HD, and I like it. I didn't have to buy it. It's $5 though on Google Play. Yikes. So would I buy it for $5? Maybe. Yeah. I got Black Ops 2, so who needs Real Racing? But when I'm on my mobile, I like Real Racing 2.
Sweet. Eric, what are you playing?
I just wanted to give a shout out to the Humble Bundle that came out last week that we wrote a story about. Almost every single one of those games on there is just fantastic. This game, the one I've been playing the most was called Splice, and you basically just start off with like these little cells of a virus or something, and you have to stretch them out and make them fit, and it is really fun. But the only Humble Bundle that I looked at and I said I have to have every single one of those games so far. And then also shout out to a game, I haven't played it, but it's called Dare Dogs, made by a guy on the Android Reddit. It's a side-scrolling shooter, this dog flying an airplane, but it's really cool because they are going to donate 10% of their proceeds to animal shelters all over the place. So
I want it. Where is it? Where do I get it?
I'll send you the link. It's called Dare Dogs. I mean, it's in the Play Store.
Write it up tomorrow, maybe, and then we can all get it.
Yeah, because I think I got an email about it, and I'm pretty sure I just ignored it. So yeah, Eric, write that one up.
I'll do that.
I have been dominating some Angry Birds Star Wars. Not gonna lie, I sat down, and actually, since I got the Nexus 4, I had to start over again, complaining about the non-cross device gaming thing. But yeah, it's fun actually. It's actually kind of fun. Hate to admit that. God, I hate Angry Birds. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I deserve that. I'm actually admitting to playing an Angry Birds game more than like 10 seconds. Yeah,
Star Wars kicks ass, dude. Don't be embarrassed.
I know, it does.
It does.
It's fun. Ron, you playing any games or anything lately? You're just a busy man. No.
Yep. Just Halo 4.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just Halo 4. All right, so let's get out of games now. Ron, I know you wrote this piece up yesterday, I believe, about your musical journey. So
God, that was epic.
Let's
That was the most epic piece I've ever read.
let's talk about this.
Yeah, that was the edited version, so I had to cut it down.
Oof.
Yeah, so I mean, I basically just kind of talked about how I made this transition eventually. So there was a period of time where all your music and everything else was on SD cards, like when I was going from Droid to Incredible, and my magical journey of like 8 different devices over a 2-year contract on Verizon, where I was just slowly moving that stuff back and forth. So I'd use apps like, for a while I was using Uber Music, which is by Federico Cardinales.
Eddie.
Yep,
And
I
he
used to use that too.
disappeared again. So, but I used that for a little while, which was cool. You could have the different skins and stuff like that. But eventually, I thought, I hate the idea of having to store and maintain my own data. I've always hated it. I've always hated discs. I've always, because they scratch or you lose them or whatever else. And so obviously, I wanted to move that to digital, but then having to try and maintain that on my own was just a mess because I'd been building up my music library for years. And stuff I had bought on iTunes, sure, that's it pulls in the data and it's all done. But stuff I had bought elsewhere was just all over the place. So I'd spent, and people might remember early on when iTunes did not pull in all the metadata with the album art and everything else like that originally. So I'd go find the best quality image, which in the early 2000s was not as easy to do as it is now. So put in all the tons of work, and I was just like, you know what, I'm sick and tired of doing this. So I started looking at subscription services, and eventually settled on RDO because they had the best library out there, and I loved it. I loved RDO. I've been using it for over a year. Didn't like that it didn't have gapless playback. But the thing that killed me was just the holes in the library, and everybody has different holes. Some of them, some have smaller holes than others, but they're there. And while like Google just finally signed their deal with Time Warner, and got that music in their library, but still, there's still smaller labels that refuse to put their music on subscription services, or at least delay them and are trying to. I was reading an article the other day where there's just certain labels that will release it on subscription services eventually, but they want to do it like movies where it's in theaters, so they have this kind of tiered thing where you go buy the album, and then it'll eventually be on subscription services months later, which is no good. So Spotify always had that option of, you can sync all your music, including the stuff that you have locally. But then I'm going to be pissed when that album does show up on a streaming service and I paid for it and now I didn't have to. And I'm maintaining all these different libraries, which is exactly what I didn't want to do. Mm-hmm. So eventually I said, okay, I'm going to throw down money. I've got music that I bought through iTunes, and spent, I think I said 4 to 6 hours, it was probably closer to 8 in reality, going through and cleaning out my library because I had like audiobooks and stuff like that weren't going to upload or anything else like that, so I was pulling those out and getting rid of duplicates and all sorts of other stuff. And then dealing with the beautiful iTunes Match, which screwed up so many times.
Wow.
As soon as you start to match your library, don't plan on doing anything on the internet. It's going to kill your network.
Oh,
it's
really?
horrible.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so just do it at night and hope that it keeps going. Sometimes it stops at random, and you just have to keep an eye on it, which is why it took so long. So, but once I finally got that done, I had a few tracks that just said waiting, and didn't have any explanation why they were still waiting. So the solution for me was just to buy those tracks, and then they showed up on the iTunes side.
Yeah, of course they did.
Yeah, which was annoying. So lots of random bugs, just like every little system's got its bugs or whatever. But once I did that and had everything done, then it's just setting up Google Music so you can have your music all over the place and have it sync that folder and everything else like that. So it's a pain in the butt, but I finally got it done. And so the big thing for me was, okay, I want to have my music everywhere, be able to stream it, be able to do everything else, and cache it for when I'm going to be offline or to save battery. But the big thing was I want to have access to everything. This kind of expands out to bigger things too. I would love to just pay, I'd pay 30, 40, 50 bucks a month for Netflix if I had access to everything.
Right.
But there just isn't The Verge has that series on the TV, War for TV going on right now, and just how difficult it is to really get everything digitally. So I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that, whether music or otherwise, dealing with digital.
Are you fully invested in Google Music then? Is that what you're saying? Like you're just Google Music and then use Rdio?
I'm dropping Rdio, and basically I'm using iTunes to buy albums if they have. Sometimes iTunes has the exclusive track, and I have to have absolutely every single track. And you can only do it album only. So I'll buy stuff from them still too, unless Google has it, or Amazon sometimes has the exclusive track too, which is also annoying. So
yeah,
but yeah, basically it's all through Google Music.
Yeah, I'm fully into Google Music. I don't think I can live without it now. And the nice thing is, like, my wife and I, she has access to my Google Music account too. So when she's at work, she streams it all day long. I can use it in our car, wherever. We can just sort of use it anywhere. And that's what I love so much about it. I love the damn cloud.
Yeah, especially when you add multiple people on there, that's huge. That was the other thing. My wife and I, we were just trying to use the one Rdio account, and then when we both try to listen to music, it would kill it for the two of us. And so if you pay for more subscriptions, at that point, it's like, well, I may as well just pay for individual albums then, because I'm not going to be saving money.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Eric and Tim, you're a music guy. What do you use? Do you just use Google Music?
Yeah, I like music.
Yeah, party.
Google Music.
Yeah, I'm pretty fully invested into Google Music at this point. What I like actually is, so I actually like to buy my music. Kind of Google doesn't really carry a lot of the music I listen to, a lot of death metal and stuff, and so I have to get it from Amazon, and I buy it on Amazon MP3, and then I'll just download it straight to my device, or I'll have it online, and then I'll put it in a folder on my desktop, and then Google Music recognizes that I have new music in there and just instantly uploads it. So that's what I do. Yeah,
and the Google Music app doesn't. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. It doesn't upload from devices yet, right? Like you can't
No.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I sort of wish it would do that, because there's a lot of times where I'm sitting on my couch and all I got is my phone, and I buy a new album, or I want to buy a new album, then I always stop myself and I'm like, I better wait.
Yeah, or just torrent it, whatever. Don't support the artists.
I don't think you're supposed to say that publicly.
Well, I think I even wrote up a uTorrent beta app post, and I was like, not that we condone this type of thing.
Yeah.
And everyone got super upset because I didn't condone legally sharing things through a torrent. Come on, guys. Obviously, I'm talking about pirating. I'm not talking about your World of Warcraft that updates their stuff through a torrent. Give me a break. Anyways, I
think that's so funny, because you're right. People are every time we're like, yeah, we don't condone using torrents, everyone always goes, what do you mean? There's always legit ways to use torrents.
Yeah, we cannot talk about torrents.
We're just saying, don't, yeah. I feel you on that one. But yeah, I have, speaking back to music though, I have two old laptops that are tucked away in a storage bin, and they all have all my old music on them. And so I just need to pull them out, turn them on, and install Google Music so they'll upload all that stuff. Because I'm kind of like you, Ron. I've got music everywhere. I have it on different phones and different computers and all this crap, and it's impossible to keep track of. And so I just need to do that. But in Google Music, though, I'll probably fill up that whole 20,000 song limit or whatever the hell we got. But I don't know. I don't think I'd be able to live without it at this point. That's for sure.
Yeah. Would you guys prefer still purchasing individual albums, or would you rather have a subscription service where if you had access to everything, would you rather do that, or?
I actually like having the actual albums, because at home I use Sonos throughout my house, and so I actually have to have the music on Sonos. I mean, you can subscribe to I think Rdio and Sirius.
You can do Rdio and Spotify, yeah.
Yeah, you can do all those, but like you said, they don't always have all the music I want. I listen to a lot of mixtapes and stuff, and so I usually just download those. So I actually have physical albums, and so I need to have the actual music just to listen to them at home. But
yeah, I wish that they would just let you say, you pay the subscription or whatever, and then you can upload anything that they're missing onto your own personal drive. That way you can just fill in the gaps on your own. That'd be great.
That would be nice. That would be nice. So I don't know. Eric, any thoughts about music?
I remember a few long nights when Google Music first came out where I just had to make sure that everybody was asleep and then start the Google Music upload because it demolished the bandwidth. Absolutely. I've never seen internet crawl so slow. And I think it was the course of 3 nights before my whole music thing was uploaded. And it was bad. And hopefully it got a lot better. I haven't really had to deal with it because it's just a few songs every now and then.
Yeah. Well, I think they have the match now, right?
Well, I don't think that's live in the US yet. Yeah.
Oh, it's still not in the... Man, come on.
It's just UK.
And see, that was Apple's big thing too. They were like, "Oh, iTunes Match, it doesn't hog up your bandwidth when you upload," but then apparently it did.
Well, it for the stuff that it matched, the stuff it could find, it didn't. But all the stuff that it had to upload, that killed. So you couldn't do anything, nothing at all. It just took over the whole thing.
See, I just assumed that their library was big enough that it wouldn't be killing a lot of people's bandwidth. But
yeah, no, I had a bunch of tracks that were totally random that they didn't have. So.
Huh.
Yeah, that's funny that you bring up that Google Music just killing your whole internet.
Dude, it was bad.
Yeah, it took me, I think, a few weeks to realize that. And even still now, like, yeah, I get a new album and download it, and then, like, all of a sudden my internet just dies. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And, yeah, it's an album uploading.
I remember I was doing it over a holiday, and my mom works from home, and I tried to upload something while she was on the computer doing her work, and she just came into my room, and she was like, "What are you doing to the internet? Because my computer has just shut down." I was like, "Okay."
You're like, "No, Mom, no!"
Yeah, see, I was able to sneak by because when Google Music first came out, I was still living at home, and we just had a crappy DSL connection, so you couldn't tell anyway.
Google Music.
You were living next door to Dave Cover.
See, I was thinking that the whole time. I was like, man, just turn off your video, just turn off everything.
Don't make fun of a hurricane victim.
Making fun of his internet connection, not the fact that he's a hurricane victim.
I saw somebody in the chat mention that I should just buy like 4 Nexus Qs and put those in my house. I would if I could, and if they weren't $300 a pop.
$300 a pop, or if you could even find them on Google's website anymore.
Yeah, because like the one that I have from Google I/O, I do use it all the time now because I can just stream my Google Music through it. So I wish I had like 3 of those, but yeah, they're $300 and you can't buy them, so it's not really worth it when I have to sell those already.
I wouldn't be surprised if down the road we saw Google do some kind of subscription option with their Google Music, as opposed to buying all of it. I wouldn't put it past them to do that.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, well, Apple's been rumored to do that for a long time, and they just won't do it. So maybe Google will beat them to the punch.
I'd pay for that.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't, but that'd be a cool idea.
Yeah, $5.
$5 a month, unlimited.
Yeah, I mean, you do get Google Music for free, so I mean, it'd be different to make you pay.
Yeah, kind of like that, but then you get YouTube for free. Well, like when I'm sitting at home, all I do is I listen to my music from YouTube, because then I can listen to anything I could ever imagine. And it's free, and I got ad block, so I don't have to watch those ads.
Oh, God.
And life is good. Life is good.
Life is good with ad block, unless you're visiting droidlife.com.
Yeah.
And then you turn it off.
Sliding up
you turn it off.
I click on a couple ads a day just to make it worth it.
Yikes. Let's not admit that publicly either. I think I could get banned for you doing that. All right, let's move. Let's start wrapping up.
Tim, you're fired.
Oh, well.
All right, so yesterday, Tim and I got this email, and it's from this guy that was on droidrazor.com, that forum. And he sent us what looked like this giant spec sheet for 3 new Motorola phones. And I looked at it, and it looked like a lot of information that would be tough for somebody to fake. So Tim and I talked about it for a little while. And I started having an email conversation with this guy. And he said that somebody over at droidrazor.com, who's like this legit member who posted up stuff about the Razor HD and Max long before anybody knew about them, yada, yada, all this stuff, posts this whole huge data sheet for 3 apparently unreleased Motorola phones. And I mean, I still don't know if it's legit or not. We just thought we'd throw it out there anyways to talk about it. So he has 3 phones. One is the XT970, codenamed the Aqueous. One is the XT975, codenamed the Lunar. And one was the XT980, codenamed the Titan. And you all remember HTC had a Titan. And basically they go from... Do they have 3? Oh, yeah, Titan, Titan. Basically, they go from one phone. The smaller phone had a 4.7-inch Super AMOLED. The middle-range phone was a 5-inch Super AMOLED. And then the big one, the Titan, was a 5.5-inch 1080p display. And there's like quad-core processors in there and dual-core processors. And it's, again, this guy says that this forum is like this legit Motorola source. And I'll post this up in the chat so you guys in the chat can see this.
I think I can smell a Nexus 5 coming in.
Yeah, really. So, I mean, I don't really know what to make of this. You guys sort of run with it. It's kind of interesting stuff. Like the amount of information in this post is intense. But I also Googled the three model numbers, and they came up as like the Razr HD in China and the Razr M in China. So they're like
say those names sound familiar.
Yeah, the model numbers seem like they already exist, so I don't know. So anyways, you guys sort of run with that, spread that around the internet, and see if we can get anybody else to talk about it. And then
but don't say it was us.
Oh, no, you can say it came from us. I don't really care. It's posted on droidrazor.com, not our site, so I'd just rather people start talking about it to either debunk the hell out of it or prove it to be true. That's all I care about. I like talking about new phones, so... and last thing let's talk about tonight is Google Fiber. We can do this briefly or short, whatever you want, but it's live, right, in Kansas City, Kansas right now. And the first couple of like startup businesses that signed up for it got it, and they were downloading at like 700 megabits a second.
Dude, I'm so jealous.
I mean, it was insane. They were like doing like a live feed, and then they were like filming the whole thing, and they were testing it and like throwing a party. I'm so moving to Kansas City in like the next year. I'm just blown away.
I'm actually going to be there next week.
Are you? You need to go to one of those cafes then and do like
I'll do it.
Exclusive speed test or something on like the Galaxy Nexus. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll do it.
You got to find fiber somewhere though, for sure. I think there's like a couple coffee shops that have it or something. But
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, just hope they have a good router then too.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. That's true. I mean, is there any router that can even take advantage of that, unless it's like some?
I'm assuming they provided you with something that would take advantage of the speed.
Oh, that's true. They are giving you a bunch of bundle of stuff. But...
Yeah, they give you the network box, which is supposed to handle that stuff.
That's right. I'm super jealous. Super jealous. I wish Google would announce a new city that isn't in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, seriously.
Sorry if you live in Kansas City. I don't know that I'll ever make it out to Kansas City.
Yeah, but we hate you.
The barbecue there is delicious. You guys are going to be jealous when I'm eating it next week.
You've said that once or twice. Like, Kansas City's got the best barbecue.
You don't understand unless you've been there.
Well, send some out, man. Overnight it.
I'll do it. They do it there. It's so good that they will send it out to anywhere in the nation because people request it.
What? Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
They do. I watch a lot of those silly food shows, and there's always like a Kansas City barbecue place that's like, we'll mail it to you. And I could never remember the names of them, but yeah, they definitely do.
All right, here we go. I want you guys to watch the chat because now the barbecue wars are going to start.
Oh, yeah.
And people are going to be coming and saying Texas, Memphis, and North Carolina.
Yeah.
Don't forget Louisiana.
No, that's not on the list.
What? it's on my list.
Louisiana does not do barbecue, and if they
do,
they
do.
It's stolen barbecue.
There's barbecue.
There's 4 places. It's Kansas City, Texas, Memphis, and Carolinas.
Yeah, well, someone said California, and that's even funnier.
That is funny. Well, Louisiana does barbecue shrimp, and they're not actually barbecue sauce. It's like butter and something else. It's not even barbecue sauce. So.
Dude, butter, what
I don't know. It's just not barbecue. It's like one of those like weird food names that doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. I mean, we don't know if Google Fiber is ever going anywhere else. Hopefully, it comes to Portland, Oregon. Google, if you're out there listening, we'd love you.
Well, this is like what we were talking about with the Google tablets. If we want to see it in other places, we need to make it profitable for them. You know, we can't just expect Google to take a loss on this and then open it up in 5 other cities.
How did Google get like a big city fund, or was there a big tax? How did they do it in Kansas City? Did they?
It was the tax thing, I think. They wanted some type of tax break or something.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, they asked a whole bunch of cities, and then the people were voting for it.
Okay.
And then, yeah, they're like, whoever can get Google the biggest tax break or whatever, and then we'll get it.
Yeah, well, they had like cities changing names. Like my hometown was
that's right.
One of them. Rancho Cucamonga was what they were going to change their name to.
Oh, that would be so awesome,
right? Yeah. So yeah, but I mean, if they do expand it, that'd be awesome, just to pressure more ISPs to up their speeds because the technology is absolutely there.
That's it. That's it right there.
That is it. I mean, Tim knows I complain about Comcast every
day, every 5 minutes.
I hate Comcast so much, but they're the fastest in my area. I don't have FiOS. That's not an option, and I'm not doing CenturyLink's DSL. No way in hell. And then that's it really. And then I have Comcast, and they're
you don't have AT&T.
Nope, I don't think so.
Time Warner, they out there?
I hate Time Warner.
I hate Time Warner. I haven't had
Everyone talks about Time Warner, and no one here on the West Coast even knows what that is, and I think we're happy about that.
Yeah, I
think I'm on the West Coast. Yeah, California, buddy.
Well, I'm from Cali too, man. I've never heard of it, so I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's Time Warner, and then Charter's around most of Southern California anyway. But the only alternative is AT&T, but they've got the gigabit cap.
Hey, just look at the chat because people are going off on Time Warner right now.
Yeah,
that's all. Well,
tons of people hate it. I'm sure everybody hates the one that they have usually. So, but I've been happy.
Yeah, I just don't have any options, and Comcast is in it. They suck.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Awful. That's the huge thing is people need more options.
Yeah,
I like Comcast.
No, you don't.
No one likes Comcast. What else do I have? I mean, I could get Verizon FiOS.
You can get FiOS. Why don't you get FiOS? You can get it. You can probably bundle it with your service. It'll be all cheap and awesome. Why not?
I don't know. I hear it's expensive. My neighbor has it, and he complains all the time about his bill, and I don't think I want to go that.
If you do bundle it, yeah, it's pretty pricey.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, never mind. Don't do FiOS. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we end this thing?
Did you guys want to talk about HTC and Apple being done with litigation?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, finally.
I think it's kind of a huge deal.
We could talk about that. Okay, go for it. Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say about it.
I mean, especially for a company like HTC, they need to stop having all these patent wars and all this litigation. So I mean, I think especially, I mean, we don't know a lot about the terms or anything else like that, but I think them paying whatever they have to do to cross license or whatever they're doing to get that done, that's great. So that's what needs to happen. We need to see more of that happening because the patent stuff is just out of control. So.
What was the rumor that they're paying like $6 to $8?
$6 to $8, yeah.
That's a lot. I mean, it seems like a lot. I mean,
it's a lot, but they're only selling like 3 or 4 phones, so it's not a big deal for them.
Yeah, that's what I wrote about in my post. Is HTC couldn't fight this. Their profits are down so much that they have no money to keep this going.
But I mean, this doesn't help their profits, right? I mean, they're just giving money to Apple.
It stops them losing money in lawsuits, which has got to be adding up at some point. So, and that means that they can use all those patents, so they don't have to worry about having to redesign everything. So maybe we can get rid of that stupid Ring lock screen.
That thing is awful. There's another subject. We're gonna talk about Sense in a second. But yeah, so this patent thing. But like 2 weeks ago, didn't Apple that whole suit got thrown out against Motorola because they were like, we're only paying $1, and here's HTC is paying $6 to $8 for a handset, and like you said, they sell like 1,000 a month, and they're not. I don't know. I guess they don't have to. They don't have to worry about lawsuits, and they can maybe start innovating on the software front. Well, not innovating, copying on the software front.
Yeah. But that honestly makes it. When you look back, look at what from HTC's perspective. What's the reason why they really, really got slammed these last couple quarters? Because of the lawsuit with Apple. Because the ITC said they infringed on the tapping on something in an email or whatever. Yeah. Apple had the patent on there. That killed them. They couldn't get the units out there, and then by that time the GS3 was coming out, and everybody, I'm sure a lot of people just said, you know what, I can't get this 1X, I'm gonna go get something else. So, because it happened with the Sprint units, and I think it happened with the AT&T units as well. So, they've got to make sure they can get their stuff out there. So, as far as I'm concerned, if they $8 for for a unit, as long as you can get them out there and sell them, they're making a huge profit on them. Yeah. So,
go for it. Go for it, Eric.
No, I've got a different topic after this one's over. Before we go.
Does this mean that anybody else is going to license? Like Samsung's head apparently talked some Korean paper day and was like, "Oh hell no, we're not licensing."
Yeah, you sent me that email with that title, and I was like, I can't believe he said that. And then I went through the story, and it was like 3 paragraphs long, and he didn't say it. I was like, come on.
Yeah, I got that email too, and I was like, no way.
Sorry.
And then I was like, Hype Beast.
I hype beasted the two of you in an email.
No, Samsung.
I mean, that
Samsung
takes talent.
has the numbers to do that. They don't care. Samsung has the numbers and the product right now that they don't have to worry about it. They can keep fighting these battles.
Mhm.
HTC wasn't doing well enough to have the power to go into court.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for Samsung to, clearly. Motorola, obviously Google owns them and bought them for all their patents. There's no way in hell they're going to license anything, I don't think. And then who does that leave? LG, and I don't even know if they're in any sort of patent lawsuit whatsoever. Like, no one even cares.
Probably not. Nobody cares.
No.
They are on nobody's radar.
Yeah. But I mean, hopefully Google's legal team is talking with Samsung, because Samsung, in the next case that'll be going up next year, the Galaxy Nexus is in there, and a lot of that stuff is including stock Android, which could, depending on how that case turns out, that could have a very direct effect on Android as a whole. Yeah. So, I mean, it's something to consider, especially when you got, all those Nexus devices that they didn't have any patents that affected the Nexus S, but the Galaxy Nexus in particular, it will have an effect depending on how that case turns out. So, Samsung should at least be a little bit cautious about that. So, and honestly, if we can get cross-licensing around the board, and that's better overall. When you look at when Microsoft and Apple did their huge cross-licensing thing, that was better for everybody. So it's just a matter of getting there, hopefully.
It would be nice for this all just to go away. I mean, when I wrote quickly up over the weekend that HTC versus Apple licensing deal, I think my first line was like, we never have to write about patent suits with HTC and Apple again. And that makes me so happy. Mm-hmm. I'm so sick of writing about that stuff.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, nobody really cares. Nobody cares where the idea came from. That's how most software works. When you look at it, people are borrowing ideas and that kind of thing all the time.
Right. And each day we get a new email from somebody saying, look at this new patent that Apple has. And then we just roll our eyes and go, here we go again. So it's not going to end anytime soon, but at least it ended with HTC. It was positive.
Which is great.
All right, so I want to complain about HTC Sense for a second. Has anyone looked at it on the DNA? I mean, it looks so tired and so old and so bad. Like, I was watching Dave flip through it today. Like, the notification pull down looks like it's from 1985. I mean, it's bad. HTC, maybe this is what they can do now that they've started licensing. They can start doing something on the software side of things. Because right now, HTC Sense is by far the worst skin of any skin. And like 2 years ago, we were talking about how it was like the best skin, and HTC Sense was awesome, and Motorola Blur sucked, and TouchWiz sucked. TouchWiz and LG's new skin destroy HTC Sense now. I really wish they would do something new. Anyway, that's my opinion. If you guys want to reflect on that?
I mean, it's definitely got better. I had to go to a client today, actually, and get their email set up on their phone, and they had, what was it? The Stratosphere? Is that the Verizon phone with the slide-out keyboard?
Yeah.
The default font on that, I don't know what that is, but that thing is ugly.
Is it like that cartoon font?
Yeah, it's like some sort of Comic Sans or something like that.
It is Comic Sans. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Why would you want that on a phone? I couldn't stare at that all day. So, and it's what's it called? TouchWiz has improved. I still hate it. It's still super cartoony, and I hate the notification sounds. Those drive me bonkers. The little whistle stuff and the ripples but it is better. So
yeah, you have to turn all that stuff off. With TouchWiz now, so TouchWiz on the Galaxy S3 and the Note 2, it's the new version, which is better. But yeah, that version that you're talking about on the Stratosphere, so like I think the first CES that Tim and I were at, we picked up I can't remember what phone it was, and it had Comic Sans all over it. I think it was like the Droid Charge or something.
Yeah, that did have it for sure.
And it had it all over it, and we just went, are you kidding me, Samsung? You can change it, I think. They have like 6 fonts you can change back then, but yeah, TouchWiz has come a long way. Yeah, I just looked at the Sense on the Droid DNA, and I'm like, Samsung is doing all these innovative things. Even LG with their skin, and here's HTC going, look at the hardware, and hardware isn't what's driving sales anymore. It's software. So
yeah.
All right, Eric, what did you have to say? You had something else you wanted to toss out?
It's not about Sense, but Cyanogen tweeted about an hour ago that apparently they got their domain name back.
Oh, awesome.
He didn't really go into what it was, but he was like, let's just put this all behind us. So I'm assuming something happened behind the scenes.
Well, Kush had posted that he posted the name of the guy who owned the domain. So I went and checked out his account, and he was basically saying, hey, I've talked to the guys at Cyanogen and offered it to them. So who knows? We'll never know exactly what happened, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was demanding that and then decided to back off or something. So
yeah,
because that's a pretty big deal for a CyanogenMod to put up that huge post saying all that. There's got to be some truth to it.
Yeah, you don't ask for $10,000 and then have Cyanogen write about it and don't expect like death threats, basically.
Yeah, people freaking out. Yeah, actually, especially when you're dealing with hackers, I really wouldn't mess with that particular group. You're gonna lose everything. Yeah, good luck getting access to anything.
It's just not our type of thing. As much as like I saw it and I was like, wow, this is like important to possibly the Android community, but at the same time I was like, this really isn't anybody's business besides their own. Maybe it affects the community because they were never really using cyanogenmod.com. So in what rationale it affected community, I didn't know, but I thought it would be good just to get it out there. But as long as it turned out all right, then I'm happy.
And you did update the post, for those wondering. Tim updated the post a while ago that had all that Twitter stuff that the guy said he was handing it over. And yeah, just drama. I mean, after the guy said he was going to give up the domain, well, I mean, Tim and I were just going, dev drama. It just never ends. There's always something. I mean,
that's the worst part. None of them can get along, it seems.
It is the worst part. So the AOKP team and the CM team last week went on this massive battle on Google+. And we're just hating all over each other. Like, they were saying some nasty
At least that was,
things.
like, entertaining, you know? Like, that was kind of entertaining just because everyone was kind of, like, taking cheap shots at each other, but this was dirty.
Yeah. It was bad, yeah. It was pretty gross, some of the stuff people were saying to each other. But, I mean, that's the way it's always been. Even back to the original Droid, remember all the dev? There was always dev drama. It's always...
Every single device I've had, there's been dev drama, which was the worst part about a custom ROM, because you'd get something and then either the developer would disappear or they'd get in fights with whoever they're with and ditch them for the ROM.
It's just it's a horrible feeling to be like, well, my phone needs fixed, but it's not getting fixed because these two guys are arguing.
Yeah.
And you just sit there and watch the argument, and you're like, hey, can I just can you fix this, please?
Yeah, I mean that honestly more than anything else has pushed me to say, okay, anytime I buy an Android phone, I'm gonna make sure it's stock, because I want to have stock software, but I don't want to be at the mercy of crazy ROM developers. That, I mean, they do amazing work, but there's just always something horrible that goes on where they disappear or they get in fights, like almost every single ROM.
Yeah, it's been a wild couple of weeks actually with some of that stuff. So I mean, I hope everything's good with the CM team, because that is unfortunate that their site went through all those issues. But
yeah.
So all right, I don't know. Cool. Any other last minute topics then? We should call it. I know Tim's like, I need to go play Black Ops.
Whoa! I did not say that.
I'll say I want to play Halo 4.
We know. That's what.
Yeah, it's just a given. No, I got tons of other stuff to do.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right, guys, that's Droid Live Show episode 5. Good stuff. We will see you guys next week, next Wednesday, same time, same Batcave place. All right, guys, we'll see you back tomorrow. Peace.
See ya.
Bye.